Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, my beloved brothers and sisters. Welcome to another program segment of Mind Science. Freedom for you. Freedom to be the good you want to be. Freedom to do the good you want to do. And real freedom, my beloved brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, to have, to own, to possess the good you want to have and you deserve. So welcome to this afternoon's program, Mind Science. Freedom for you. And as you saw under my name, this program, Mind Science, Freedom for You, was inspired by the Honorable, beloved Reverend Ike. His message is so powerful, so uplifting, so inspiring, that I knew whatever I've gotten out of it, sitting at his feet for many years, just feasting on his messages and his wisdom and his love, that I had to get this message out to the community. Why? Because I want you to have an inner awareness, a self-awareness of the truth of yourself. I'm going to say that again. Mind Science Freedom for You is designed so that you can have an inner awareness of the truth of you, so you can have an outer experience in your world, in your family, at work, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, and in your money. Good health, happiness, love, success, prosperity, and of course, more money. Now, many of you may have heard the word science before, and it might make you a little nervous. You might say, well, I don't want to get into this science stuff. Because maybe in school, in public school, in junior high, high school, or colleges, you may have had a tough time with science, earth science, biological science, nuclear science, all kinds of sciences. You may perceive that as a rough area to get into, to study. But science just means to know the truth. So in all of those areas, bioscience, nuclear science, astrological science, astronomy, is just to know the truth about those fields. And so that's why I put together this program, Mind, Science, Freedom for You. So you can have an inner awareness of the truth of you and your power. You have unlimited creative power flowing through you right this moment. People call that the Holy Spirit. But you have that flowing through the universe and through you every moment, every day. You have creative power, and you're not separate from that power. You see, the truth is, you and the power are one. But you don't realize that. And so you make efforts, and it's new and foreign to you, so you make efforts to keep yourself separate from your true identity, your true self, your true power. So welcome to our program today, and we're going to continue with laying the foundation for my course I'm putting together for you, an introduction to yourself. A course that will help you, in addition to our weekly Mind, Science, Freedom for You television program, a course that you can take. I think it'll be 6 or 9 sessions, a series, and really get a hold of and a feel for your inner wisdom and powers, so that you can be what you want to be, so that you can do the good you want to do, so that you can have the good you want to have through the presence, through the power of God, people call God, good, love, and the Holy Spirit within you. Now, don't be shaky. Don't think that this is wishy-washy stuff. This is truth. First of all, you're not a hank of hair and 10 pounds of clay. Let's get that straight. You're not your race. You're not your hue or your color or shade of color. You're not that. You're not your height or your weight. You're not your religion or your cultural or ethnic group. That's not you. You're not your age, whatever that may be. You're not the bones in your nose or the rings in your nose or your ears or your lips or your belly button or any other place you may have them. You're not your tattoos, your dreadlocks, your brown eyes, your blue eyes, your gray eyes, your green eyes. Now, the facts are, my beloved brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the facts are you have those things. You have a height, a hue. You have a religion or ethnic group. You may have a particular type of ring in your ear, but you are not those things. And why this is important to know? Because many of you focus on those things as you. And you expect those things to do things for you, to get you out of jams, or to get you in jams. Those things are not the truth of you. You have them, but the truth of you is that you, each and every one of you, are a unique, individualized, perfect expression of God. Good. Of source, the source of the universe. I am one with my source. You are a perfect expression of the source, creator of the sun, moon, and stars, the universe. That intelligence expressed itself as you and me. So it can do the good it wants to do in the earth through you. You need your feet to get around. You need your hands to do things. You need your voice to say things, to teach things, to build things with your hands. So you're not a hank of hair and 10 pounds of clay. No, that's not the truth of you. Now, today what we're going to do, we're laying the foundation. This is part 3 of the foundation of our course, an introduction to yourself. Some of you know more about everybody else, but you don't know about you. Some of you know about every single character on a reality show, every TV series, the characters, the mother, the father, the kids. You know more about them, and they're not even real, than you know about yourself. You see, once you begin to learn about yourself and your power, you don't find yourself anymore under circumstances, under conditions, under situations. Now, I always say you have no business under situations, circumstances, or conditions. And you find yourself under there stuck sometimes because you don't know yourself. You don't know that the situation you perceive yourself under is not even real. It's an illusion that you and your ego created. So this program, Mind Science Freedom for You, is going to help you get an understanding of this. How we set our own self up for struggle. We do that. And of course, we blame the white man. We blame the landlord or the boss on our job. We blame the immigrants. We call all of them our enemy when the real enemy is ourselves. Our inability to know ourselves and our power. And once you know that, you become master. You become on top. And not in a negative way, just being yourself. And your true self is a royal, wise, independent, intelligent, caring, and loving expression of the source, God, the Holy Spirit. That's who you really are in human form. And with that knowledge, you'll be able to build the kind of quality life that you desire for yourself, your family, your community. You can help a little bit in helping your community, your city. Be a light and a resource to your children, their children, their children, and their children, and their children. Because you're coming from a high vibration, a high frequency. And that's what people need from you. They want to interact with you at your highest frequency and vibration, because it's going to bring out their higher frequency and vibration. And all of this collective movement towards truth will aid in the emergence of a heartfelt nation and world in business and family and service and recreation. So today, my beloved brothers and sisters, we're going to talk about a few things. One of the things we're going to talk about is the brain, your brain. We have a brain, all of us have a brain. Einstein had a brain, great physicist. Dr. Henry Clark had a brain. Chancellor Williams had a brain. We all have a brain. Steve Harvey has a brain. But you need to know your brain. That's knowing yourself, part of knowing yourself. You gotta know how your brain works. You wanna know how your car works, you know doggone well you gotta change that oil every 3 to 6 months. You gotta rotate your tires. But you gotta know how your brain works too, so that you can function better than your car. That's an interesting analogy. We're live today. If you have any question or comment, now this may be a deep subject, or it may be something you're not familiar with, but that's all right. If you have any question, no question is wrong, or comment, call 212-245-7273. We're live today, Thursday, the 29th, 212-245-7273. And like the Honorable Beloved Reverend Ike says, you can't lose with the stuff I use. And you can't miss if you work with this. If you work with this knowledge that I'm sharing with you, if you take our course and attend to our weekly mind sign courses, you're going to become a new person. You're going to become and start shining like you're supposed to shine. Let your light shine. It's summertime. You're going to start shining, and physically you're going to change. Your circumstances will drop away, and you'll be able to achieve the good in life that you desire. So I love that what Reverend Ike said. You can't lose with the stuff I use. You can't miss if you work with this, because you're working with unlimited power, creative power. That is your nature. And you don't have to buy it, it's within you. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the brain. We're going to talk about your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. It's still one mind, but there are two aspects. They're more than that. But we're going to talk about two aspects of the mind, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, and the brain, and how they work. And the more you study this, the more you become familiar with this, the more you become it. You see, there's a saying that says you can't give what you don't have. How can you love somebody and you don't love yourself? You can't love nobody if you don't even know yourself. I'm looking outside a minute. I'm looking at the monitors out there, and I'm seeing some interesting activity. You must know yourself. And I think way back in ancient Kush, that the name changed to Egypt. In one of the temples, before you walk in, it says in hieroglyphics, know thyself. I think it's Sabat Chak Satur, ancient African language. Know thyself. That's the main thing. You gotta know yourself. You gotta teach, but you gotta know what you teach, and it has to be within. See, this knowledge that I'm sharing with you, I live this every day. There are challenges, there are distractions, but I have some systems and techniques to get back on track. You've got to be careful, because in our world there's so much distraction. Just day before yesterday, a so-called white, unquote, quote unquote woman went into a clinic with her son. He had some issue. And she said, when she went to fill out the papers and the African-American doctor came out, she said, I don't want to see no black doctor, I want to see a white doctor. And the people looked around and said, what's the matter with you, woman? She said, I'm white, I want to see a white doctor. I don't want to see no brown, no black doctors. And the people were saying, you know, lady, you're a racist. She said, don't come in my space. I'm not racist, I'm white and I want to see a white doctor. See, she's programmed to be separate by her ego for some issue she's struggling with. It has nothing to do with that doctor. See, she's working from the trauma that the anxiety or whatever it is, the conflict that's in her, that she's trying to displace on the black doctor. Just day before yesterday. So we're distracted by all kinds of stuff. I don't know what she's distracted by. And we need to have abilities and strategies and skills. Just like you need to know how to drive a car and make a left turn and put on your left turn signal. You got to know how to do that. So if you're working at, let's say you're working in the court system and you're a judge and you feel angry for some reason, you need to know how to get back on track so you can appropriately manage your court. And so that's what we're going to be teaching. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the brain, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and of course we're going to talk about, we're going to have our own beloved spiritual director, Xavier Ipercoda. He's our spiritual director. Oh, I think we got a call. Good afternoon. Welcome to Mind Science Freedom for You. What is your question? What is your comment?
Good afternoon, Gilbert.
Hey there, Brother Rob. How are you? It's good to hear from you.
Yeah. I want to apologize to you for last week. I was watching the show, and I didn't call in because I wanted to hear what your guest had to say.
Oh, and Sister Tabaika, yes.
Yes. And, sometimes people can learn a lot from just sitting back and listening. And that's what I wanted to do last week. And I'm jealous of you because all the pretty ladies run to Gilbert James and come to be on your show.
Well, thank you for that interesting and nice comment, Rod.
Now
listen, is it Rob or Rod?
Rod, R-O-D as in David.
Gotcha. Well, I was looking
Okay.
for you last week. Yeah, I was looking for you.
Yeah, I know you were, but like I said, I wanted to hear what the sister had to say. You know, and sometimes we have to be quiet and let others talk that are sending knowledge and wisdom, and listen to what they have to say. People can learn a lot by listening, and they don't realize that.
Right, that's a skill that a lot of people need to learn. You know, when you talk about communicating, they say that in the black community we don't communicate with each other. Well, that's one of the things we need to learn. We need to learn how to communicate and listen to one another.
Well, I think as the world as a whole needs to learn how to communicate and listen. And those who get confused when they hear the word science, like you say,
Yeah.
substitute the word science for sense. Because we don't use sense. Common sense is not used anymore. And it's really, really a frightening thing. Just from the events of the last couple of weeks that I've heard, that baby that got beaten, for instance, on Father's Day by her father. And that was a very, very sad state of affairs. This young man went on Facebook to look for somebody to have sex with for the purpose of just having sex, and created a child that he didn't want. And unfortunately, that child suffered the wrath of this man's anger. And this child is dead now because of this. And this man at 19 has messed up his life, period. He will never see the light of day. And jailhouse justice will do its course with this young man. This man should be beaten every moment he's breathing. That's the way I feel. Now, we also live in a society where people think it's okay for 7-year-olds to be out at 2 a.m. Now, this 7-year-old is standing with another bunch of people, 19 and 20 years old, and they get robbed by another group of men, and gunshots ring out. Now, one 19-year-old is paralyzed. 2 others were hit by gunfire. Fortunately, the 7-year-old was not harmed. But what kind of mind
There you go.
says that it's all right for a 2-year-old to be out at 2 o'clock, a 7-year-old to be out at 2 o'clock in the morning? That's beyond stupid.
Was the child out there with the parents?
Yes, he was outside with the crowd of people that got shot.
Well, that's rough. That shows me that they may have not, for the parents, they may not have had home training.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
They say that the children, if you see acts like that, then they're not using common sense. They know that area, I'm sure, is a rough area.
Yeah, East 104th Street, George Washington House, East Harlem.
Right, that's rough. I saw that in the newspaper. They had the police down there and the yellow strips of tape going all around. That is rough. So that goes back to another skill that people, not just African Americans or black people, but all people need to know how to manage their anger.
Well, you know something, Gilbert? I'll give you another example. There used to be places where we could go and have a good time, and we know that nothing's going to happen. Those places don't exist anymore today. We have people that get shot at baby showers. And just the other day at a graduation, a young man was flashed. At a graduation where people are going to celebrate the pride and how proud they are of their loved one that they graduated, and instead somebody that doesn't even go to the school is seeking revenge on a person that's not expecting it. To me, and I'm sorry to use this word, Gilbert, but it's chicken shit. Because that's exactly what those people are. And then I just saw over the weekend 4 girls beat a girl to a bloody pulp at another graduation ceremony. What kind of society are we living in? I mean, you can ask to sit down on a train and get slashed because you want to sit down. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about senior citizens. Come on now. The elderly and the babies are the most vulnerable out of all of us.
Right.
And I'm not even going to go into President Trump today.
Okay.
I'm not even going to go into that because I'm really heated about what he did with that Twitter. Again, that's chicken shit.
Well, you know, people in general have issues. A lot of people in society, period, no matter whether you're African American, Hispanic, Indian, Asian, Caribbean, African, Caucasian, it makes no difference who you are. Growing up in our society, we're open to issues and labels thrown on us and fears. You know, one of the first things we learn when we grow up is no. You know, so you know, as a child, we grow up hearing that you can't, and so we develop with angry. I mean, there's a program on TV called Children Who Kill. Children Who Kill, and they had this little. You seen that? They had this little kid, little freckle-faced kid, redhead kid, 11 years old. He killed another little boy in the neighborhood because he was bullied in school, because he's a small boy. He was bullied and beat up repeatedly until it got to the point where he just couldn't take it no more. And he saw this little child, 5 years old, walk by him, and he said, now's a chance for me to show that I'm powerful, that nobody can just bully me just like that. And he went and crushed that little boy's head with some rocks and killed him. 11-year-old boy. He had no ability to control that anger. So those are two things, communication and anger. We need to learn, because if you don't control your anger like this little boy, now he was right to be angry because the kids were bullying him, but he had no training on how to control his anger, and so that anger just moved up into rage. And when your anger get up in rage, here comes the rock, here comes the gun. Now, some of the people in our communities pick up the rock and the gun not out of rage, out of stupidity, because other people are doing it.
That doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense whatsoever, but people do this. And so it's so important for us to know who we are, what we're made of. We're not just I mean, we're more than what we perceive ourselves to be. I mean, you've seen that picture or that movie about those 4 or 5 African American women who helped put our astronauts on the moon?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those black women, no one had a clue that within them was science and physics. You know? So we're much more than what we perceive ourselves to be. But what this program, Mind, Science, Freedom for You, is trying to help people recognize that. And that's why I'm glad you mentioned that we do some stupid things out there in the world, in our communities, because we don't know ourselves. And I always say, that's not us. We're taking on the role of an imposter. That cat who killed that brother in the projects on 104th Street, that wasn't him. That was some role fantasy that he got locked into in his mind and heart, that he had no way to get away from that.
Well, those roles come from what is watched on television, like you said, with the reality shows and it comes from the negative music that comes up with these rappers, the Lil Wayne, the Rick Rosses, the Drake, the Nicki Minaj's, all of them. You know, these people don't care about the black community, especially Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne says, all I care about is himself. This from a man that looks like he celebrates Halloween every day. He looks like a monster. Okay? We have to, really, take a step back and associate science and sense in the same vernacular, because they both work hand in hand.
Yes.
Both work hand in hand. And unfortunately, when you are president, you are going to be criticized. And if you cannot stand criticism, you should not be president. If your answer to criticism is to hide behind a BlackBerry and tweet your thoughts where nobody can confront you, that's not a real man. That's not a real person. We need strong people that are going to protect us, not people that are paranoid chickens and put fear into everybody and put hate into everybody, because that's what this man is doing. We need to use our common sense, because instead of putting a devil with one horn in the White House, we put a devil with two horns, a tail, a cape, and a pitchfork.
Hey.
So Gilbert, you preach what you preach, and I'm sorry once again that I didn't get a chance to speak with your guest last week, but if you have her on again, I guarantee you, when you call for Brother Rod to call, Brother Rod will be calling in.
Yeah, I'm going to have her on next week, Rod. Now tell me, what did you get from her? Did you resonate with anything that Tabitha said?
Well, you know something? I don't claim to be the smartest person in the world, but I'm definitely not the stupidest.
No.
And what she said made a lot of sense, and I agree 100% with everything that came out of that sister's mouth, and yours as well. And that's why I watch your show. Even if I'm the only one that calls in, and I'm the only one that gets something out of this. When I speak to people, for instance, I speak to people that don't think the same as I do. And we can't assume that everybody thinks the same. And that's another problem we have. Everybody is an individual, and everybody has individual thoughts. But if too many people are thinking negative and ignorant and, just say the first thing that comes to their brain,
right,
you have to be knowledgeable of what you say. Even if the person that you're speaking to doesn't agree with you, you have to be able to back up what you say and walk away and say, I know I'm right, and that's the way I feel.
Okay. Beautiful, Brother Rod. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that next week on being careful with our language and the words that we use, because words have power.
Exactly.
Now,
Thank you, Brother.
You're welcome, Rod.
What were you going to say, sir?
I was going to say that I'm going to talk a little bit about the brain, because a lot of times we don't know, and I'm not going to get into it too much because it's a deep area, and I want Xavier to give us all a nice meditation. Our brain, Rod, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, don't use us. We use our brain. You see, sometimes we say, oh, well, it was in my mind, but the brain didn't put it in your mind. You put it in your brain. Now, here's the way it works. Right now, this very moment, the Holy Spirit, or that invisible intelligence that created the sun, the moon, the earth, and all the worlds, the ocean, the mountains, the wheat fields, the flowers, that same power, that same intelligence that created all of that is constantly flowing through the universe and through us. And we're not separate from that. We don't know it, but we're not separate from that. So every now and then we'll get what is called a download. And this would Brother Xavier talks about a lot. Xavier Eichencoder, the son of our beloved Reverend Ike. He's our spiritual director, Xavier Eichencoder. And he underlines in red that we're really not aware of the value of being connected and accepted and being aware that we are connected to the source, the creator, that creative intelligence and energy, the source of the universe. Now, a classic example of what I'm trying to say, and it's going to take a while, I'm going to really get onto this more later on. If you have a person who's an alcoholic, let's say, an alcoholic, and this person is bopping out of work and trying to get across the street to his car or to the bus stop across the street. And the traffic is coming. And a truck is coming toward this guy. Now, he wants to get out the way. Now, here's the issue, here's the point I'm making. If the mind is not functioning, if your brain is not functioning at a high level, not a level of anger, resentment, prejudice, racism, blame. If your alcohol or drug is going to interfere with you sending commands to your brain to send a command down your nervous system in the form of an impulse, an electrical impulse. And that's why what Rod was saying, what you're saying, Rod, about words, they're so important, because the nature of a word carries with it an impulse, an electric power. So if you're drunk or an addict and something is coming to hurt you like a Big Mac truck, and you send the impulse to down your nervous system to try to get that impulse to your legs, to move your behind out the way, because you are not in your right mind, because you're not functioning at a high, proper level, it's like when you turn on your car and you don't hear you hear, you don't have enough wattage, you don't have enough stamina to send that command to your leg to get you out of the way.
Exactly. So what you're saying is, if you're drunk or an alcoholic, you're not going to be able to react quick enough.
That's
to
right.
Get out of the way of that truck, whereas a person with clear thinking and thinking at a higher level is going to be able to escape danger.
The crop, right? Like, and you say the person who's always playing video games, always playing shoot 'em ups, always playing killing them, and some kids play that all day. I mean,
and
some kids
they can't shoot themselves.
Right.
They can't shoot themselves.
They fill their mind, and some people watch horror movies every single day. They will fight you like you are enemy if you try to turn off their Walking Dead. You try to turn that off, they're coming at you, man. They've got to get that horror in their mind. So when they have that horror and you have that low functioning vibration, that's what it is, within the mind, in the brain, because the brain takes all that in the form of memory. When you have that in your mind, you're not functioning at your higher self. So
well, you know something? Brother Graham Witherspoon said last week about a police officer, that he has to make snap decisions with your hands, your feet, and your brain. And I think the same principles apply to everyday life.
That's right. If you want to live a good life in the world, if you want to manage your community, we're always complaining about they are not doing this for our community. I heard a guy say the other day, they need to give me a job. What do you mean? They ain't giving you nothing. You got to go out there and be prepared to get a job.
Exactly.
You know, so this kind of mentality that this rough, I'm going to shoot them down if they don't do this for me, that's not going to improve your life. That's not going to improve your affairs and your relationship. So what if you're functioning at that level, that murderous and killing this and killing that, I mean, 24/7, all the time, where you know doggone well it's too much, then you're not able to react in split seconds when you need help. You can't. You can't, because you got competing ideas going on in your mind. And while they're competing, you're getting eat up or shot up or beat up, or you're missing an opportunity on your job to make more money and get a better life. You're not hearing your children because you got all this negative competing ideas that's trying to control you.
You're right, Gilbert. And you know something? 40 years ago, let's say if you were unemployed, on Sunday, you made sure you got that Sunday Daily News or that Sunday Times, and you looked through the classifieds, and you circled positions that you were interested in. And then Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you had your best clothing on, and you were pounding the pavement, going from office to office. You might get the same thing at every place. Thank you for applying. We'll give you a call if you're needed. But you didn't let that discourage you.
Right.
You went back out there Tuesday morning and went to different places.
Or you went to the Department of Labor and got a list of opportunities that you could go knock on some doors.
Exactly. People sit behind computers now. And this is another thing that has made us lazy as society. Sitting behind a computer and putting in resumes for 8 hours and saying, oh, well, I've been all day sitting behind the computer, just putting in resumes. That's not going to get you anywhere. You got to go out and meet people. Let people see who you are. Let people see how you present yourself.
Yeah, like the guy said the other day, people go to church a lot and they pray for this and they pray for that, then they sit back and hope God do it for them.
Well, you know something, praying is good to a certain extent.
Right, you got to take action. Like you're saying, you got to go out there, Rod, and you got to do something.
Yeah, you got to go out and grab opportunities, because opportunity's not going to knock at your door.
Right. I remember one time I was working for an employment agency. You know, I was looking for a job, and I got a job in an employment agency. And you know, employment agency, they don't pay you a regular salary right away. They give you a little commission, but it takes 6 months before you build up enough people you put in jobs before you start getting commissions.
Exactly.
So one day I said to myself, gee whiz, I got a book full of jobs. I'm taking one of these jobs for myself. So on my lunch hour, I circled a nice job that was in the area. And on my lunch hour, I went and knocked on them doors. I said, hey, how you doing? I'm good at this. You still got the opening? Sure, come on in, fill out an application. Got the job. So that's the kind of proactive action you need to do, and that's wisdom. Because wisdom is when you get ideas, you go to a workshop, you go to a conference, you read a book, you listen to a tape, and then you act on it. That's what wisdom is. And that's related to willpower. You got to get up off your behind and do something. I was working for JASA, the Jewish Agency Services for the Aged, as a social worker, because I have my master's in social work.
Right.
And my last day was last week, actually. I got one more check coming next week. But you know, I get hundreds of jobs every day. I mean, when I hear people say there's no job, you know, it just baffles my mind because there's hundreds of jobs. If you go out there, if you want to get up off your behind and go out there and do something, you know, go out there and get a job. But we've been trained. We're not getting the quality teaching from our parents. Now, of course, some of our parents are doing well. My daughter, she'll be graduating junior high school next year. She's doing well. Her sister had a year of college. My daughter, Shanadora, has a good job. And most of my family are doing very well because when they were born, I looked them in the eye and told them who they were. From, you know, right out of the womb, I told them you are a perfect expression of God, and and there's nothing else besides that. You know, and they're doing well, but you have to, the parents have to sit down with the kids and teach them. You really got to. I told my son the other day, I took him, because we're in a high rise on the 21st floor, and we're facing east, so I can see right into, I'm right over the George Washington Bridge, right where the bridge starts, and I can see into LaGuardia Airport. I see the planes taking off. I can see the Whitestone Bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, all the bridges I can see in the Queens, Jamaica, the Bronx, Co-op City, and I can see all the cars and all the trucks. So I said, come here, son, come here. I said, look out there, what do you see? He said, I see action or life or something like that. I said, there's more out there than that. There's an abundance out there, son. Look at all those buses coming across to the bridge. All those 37, the 3, the 33 bus. All those yellow cabs, those green cabs, gypsy cabs, all those Johnny Pumps, all those parks and trees and traffic. Look at all those stores out there, those restaurants. Look at those trees. There's an abundance out there. And guess what, son? Everything out there was an idea in somebody's mind. You have a mind, so they don't have nothing on you. You can be what you want to be. You can do the good you want to do for yourself and your 2 kids, and you can have the good you want to have, but you got to use your mind.
That's right. And you know, I just want to say one more thing, and I'm going to hang up because it's almost time for you to close. You have always said that if you see something that's wrong in the community or with the city, for instance, if you see something's wrong in the teaching system, become a teacher. If you see something wrong with law enforcement, become a lawyer. Well, I want to give a shout out to one of the MNN TV hosts, Lou Pugliafito, who hosts a show called A Decent Life on MNN 3 and MNN 2. He's running for mayor.
Okay.
Because he says that there's too much hate.
What's his name again, Rod?
Lou Pugliafito.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, he hosts a show called A Decent Life that comes on tonight at 9 o'clock on MNN 2. He's running for mayor. I found out last week. And I went to his website, and yes, he is running for mayor because he says there is too much hate and not enough love in this world.
Right, there's no need to be going down, burning down your own neighborhood and burning down your own shopping centers in your neighborhood. That's not going to get a change for you.
Right, and he's trying to run to change the dynamic as far as the way we treat each other. And he may not accomplish what he's setting to accomplish, but at least he's giving it a good try. And I want to give him a shout out because that's a beautiful guy too.
Great, Ron. Thank you so much for your call today, Rod. I really appreciate it.
I do too, Joe. But it's always a pleasure to call you, Joe, and speak to somebody with a brain.
Praise the Lord and bless you real good. Talk to you later, bro.
Bless you. Bless you too, brother.
Oh, that's Brother Rod. I wanted to bring Brother Xavier in today. I don't know if we have time to go into his meditation. I'll show you who he is. He's our spiritual director at United Palace House of Inspiration.
The Up High Love Ensemble. Thank you to Kathleen Sumaget Rivera, bringing you a taste of Up High.
Well, that's our spiritual director, and I'm going to bring on his meditation just to give you a little sense